Summer operations at your preschool, maybe your play cafe, your childcare center, or enrichment program, well, it shouldn't feel like starting over from scratch every single June. Now, you've spent months building routines and systems at work, but then maybe the calendar flips and then suddenly nothing seems to fit. You're scrambling to hold everything together with a completely different schedule, different team needs, and families with completely different expectations and schedules. You've tried applying your school year process to summer, but my friend, they weren't designed for the flexibility summer actually requires. Now, here's what changes everything for us in our early childhood businesses. Summer, well, it doesn't break a well-built business. It reveals where your operations need seasonal flexibility. And when you learn to adapt your existing systems instead of rebuilding them from the ground up every year, you can lead through the busiest season with confidence and finally enjoy what you've built. Welcome, CEOs, to the Early Childhood Business Made Easy podcast. I'm Kelly Peak, your host. And as you know, I love to help you all find more of that time freedom lifestyle that you so deserve. Now, for many, it's the first week of June. Your school year enrollment, it's probably wrapping up. Your families have said their end of year goodbyes, or they're about to. And then you walk in maybe on a Monday during the first official week of summer programming. And has this happened to you? I know it did to me a few years back. Within the first 48 hours, it just felt like the wheels were coming off. I had set everything up. This was about 15 years ago. The ratio coverage I had planned, well, it didn't work because our summer attendance was unpredictable. The parent communication process that I used all year long suddenly didn't cover everything families needed to know about when it came to summer scheduling. And our billing system, well, it was asking us to do things that it really wasn't set up to handle. So somewhere around Thursday of that first week, I got back from the office at like 6:30 at night. I was trying to patch everything together at home. The system, it was a system that was never designed for what summer actually looked like in my business. And at the time, I just really didn't understand that. Now, if you know what I'm talking about, we're in this together. And I hear this every single summer from preschool directors, childcare operators, play cafe owners, all over the country. And I've lived it myself at Peak Academy and Play Boutique. Summer is a season that seems like it should be simpler, but for most early childhood businesses, including my own, it is one of the most operationally challenging seasons of the entire year. Now, the reason summer feels so chaotic isn't because we're bad at planning, but it's truly because those traditional operation systems, they were designed for consistency. And summer, my friend, summer is seasonal. So your school year systems, those were built for a predictable rhythm. And summer, well, that breaks that rhythm. And if you're trying to force the same systems to work in a fundamentally different operational environment, you are going to fight it every single year. But there is a better way, and it doesn't require you to rebuild everything from scratch before June. And that's what we're talking about today, because as you know, we're on a mission to rewrite the rules of business when it comes to leading an early childhood business. There are 3 strategies that we're going to talk about to help you adapt your operations for summer without creating more work for yourself. So we're going to cover, number 1, how to audit your existing systems with a summer lens, how to build a summer scheduling framework that's going to protect your team capacity, and finally, how to create a simple communication plan that sets expectations for both families and your team before any of that chaos even starts. One more thing before I dive in, I want to remind you about our free resource. The resource today is called the Operations Planning Worksheet, and it's going to walk you through 4 key areas of operational efficiency. And I want to show you exactly how to apply it to your summer planning. So get that at kellypeak.com, where you're going to find information about this week's episode, podcast episode number 184. Now, my friend, summer, it doesn't break a well-built business. It reveals where your operations need seasonal flexibility built in. The early childhood operators who lead through summer with confidence, well, they're not rebuilding their systems every June. They've learned to adapt what they have. They've learned to protect what works and then fill in the gaps before that chaos arrives. Your summer operations problem, it is not a scheduling problem. It is a systems design problem. And the difference matters because it changes what you do next. If it's a scheduling problem, then you need to spend the next 3 weeks rearranging your calendar. If it's a systems design problem, you need to spend one focused afternoon identifying which of your year-round systems need a summer version and which ones work just as they are. In 30 years of operating early childhood businesses, I have watched operators exhaust themselves trying to solve summer chaos with more effort, more meetings, more planning sessions, more team check-ins. And the exhausting truth is just that summer chaos does not respond to all of that effort. It responds to intentional design. Childcare Aware of America, they report that summer months create some of the most significant enrollment fluctuations that early childhood businesses face all year long, with enrollment often dropping between 15 and 30% during peak summer vacation weeks, then spiking unpredictably around summer camp programming. The McCormick Center for Early Childhood Leadership has found that operational stress in EC businesses peaks in June and July, not because operators are less capable during those months, but because the businesses, they haven't built systems designed to handle seasonal variation. Now, what this means for your business is that summer stress isn't a character flaw, it's a systems gap. And these systems gaps are something that you can actually fix. Now, a childcare director that I worked with in Ohio had been operating her center for 9 years. And every single summer, she said the same thing. I survive summer. I don't lead it. She was spending 15 or more hours every June recreating her operational documents from scratch. She was updating her parent communications manually, and she was scrambling to fill team gaps she hadn't anticipated. She was exhausted before July even arrived. Now, when we shifted her approach and did what I'm going to teach you today, 2 things changed. She stopped treating summer as a completely separate business problem, and she started treating it as a seasonal layer on top of systems that she already had in place. She also built what we call a summer operations snapshot. It was a 1-page document that mapped her summer capacity, her summer coverage, and her summer communication plan in a single place. And the result, she walked into her first week of summer programming that year with everything her team needed in one place. She cut her June prep time from 15 hours down to 4. And for the first time in 9 years, she said that she actually looked forward to summer instead of dreading it. And today, she leads her business as a CEO, a confident early childhood operator year round. And summer, it's now one of her favorite seasons to operate. Now, that shift is available to you as well. And it's not complicated. It's by design. So let's dive into our 3 strategies. So today, strategy number 1 is that summer systems audit. Now, before you can adapt your operations for summer, you have to know what you're actually working with. And this is where most early childhood operators get stuck, because the instinct when summer approaches is to start creating new things, new parent guides, new team schedules, new billing processes, new everything. I want you to flip that instinct completely. I want you to start by auditing what you have. Pull out your current operational documents and systems, your enrollment forms and process, your billing procedures, your parent communication and templates, your team onboarding process. Now, for each one, ask this question. Does this work for summer as it is? Or do we need a light adjustment? Or do we need a completely summer-specific version? Now, most of what you will discover in that audit is going to fall into the first 2 categories. The process for collecting tuition payments, for example, it probably works fine with a small note about summer payment and summer schedules. For example, our tuition billing at Peak Academy year-round is based on 4-week segments. So families pay for a 4-week month. So again, there are 10 4-week months that they pay for during the school year. In the summer, it's 2 5-week sessions. So guess what? In their mind, right away, that tuition looks like it's going up, but it actually isn't. It's just that they're getting billed for 2 5-week sessions instead of 2 4-week sessions. So that's why we have to have that conversation around tuition payments. But for the most part, it stays the same. Now, when you look at your enrollment process, is that different in the summer versus the school year. Again, in our example at Peak Academy, we have a form that families fill out. We ask them for their specific weeks and we bill them in those 2 5-week increments. So again, in June, they're paying for the first 5 weeks, and in July, they're paying for the second 5 weeks. Now, again, we ask them to fill out their forms, and we don't offer vacation weeks, but we do allow them to move their schedule around, which we don't do during the school year. So again, it isn't necessarily summer specific. It's using some of the same enrollment processes that we use during the school year. We just tweak them a little bit. So that's what you're going to need to focus on. And finally, what about your parent communication? Now, that one might need a little more summer specific because remember, you might have different drop off and pickup times. You definitely are going to have different theme descriptions, and you're going to have maybe some different closure related situations. You're going to have people who are coming at different times and not there consistently. So the way that you communicate, that might be a little different over the summer. But again, do your audit. Now, the operations planning worksheet that I mentioned, it's designed exactly for this kind of audit. It walks you through 4 operational categories: digitizing your administrative tasks, standardizing your administrative workflows, and implementing your payment systems and streamlining your document management. So use those 4 categories as your audit framework. Work through each section with summer specifically in mind. Remember, this is for summer. Your billing and payments. Do your current online payment systems handle summer session billing? Your enrollment forms. Do you have a digital summer enrollment form? Is it the same as the one that they used in the school year if they're not new for summer? If they are new for summer, is it a new form? Are you printing these? Are you collecting them online? What about your record keeping? Are your summer attendance and authorization records organized the same way as during the school year, or do you need something different? What about your communication? Does this happen digitally in your communication channels over summer, or is there something different that you're going to do so families actually get what they need to know? Now, you will likely find that about 70%, I'm guessing, of what you need for summer probably already exists. Now, your job is to identify the 30% that might need a seasonal layer or tweak added to it, and then I want you to build on that. So your action steps here. Number 1, download the operations planning worksheet from kellypeak.com, where you're going to find information on podcast episode 184. Block out about 30 minutes, work through section number 1, the digitizing your administrative tasks section with your summer operations in mind. Circle every item that creates friction specifically in summer, and then note where there's a gap. Maybe it's a process or a communication, but note that gap. Action step number 2, I want you to create a summer systems checklist. Now you're going to have 3 columns: works as is for summer, needs a small adjustment, and needs a summer version. So drop every operational document that you currently use into one of those columns. Every operational system, every process. This is going to become your summer prep priority list, and you are going to be amazed at how much shorter that needs a summer version column actually is. Okay, on to strategy number 2, the summer scheduling framework. Now, summer scheduling isn't harder than the school year scheduling. It's just different. And different can require a different framework, or it will become harder. Now, your school year schedule is built on predictability. You know roughly how many kiddos are enrolled. You know your ratio requirements. You know your team's hours because they're consistent week to week. You know how many parties you're going to have. Everything is booked out and is pretty consistent. Summer breaks all of these into assumptions. Enrollment fluctuates. Some weekends are busy with parties, some aren't. Some classrooms are busy some weeks, some aren't. Families take vacations. Your team requests time off. These are all patterns you can't fully predict. And if you try to apply your school year scheduling logic to a fundamentally unpredictable environment, you are going to spend the entire summer in reactive mode. The summer scheduling framework has 3 components: enrollment mapping, ratio planning, and flex coverage. So your enrollment mapping means getting ahead of your summer capacity before June arrives. If you run summer programming, you likely have some registration data already by your existing families or families who have found you online. Use that data to map your attendance expectations week by week across summer right now, today. Now, you don't need perfect numbers. You are just looking at ranges. So, for example, this week you're expecting 12 to 15 children, and then this other week it looks more like 6 to 8. Now, these ranges are going to help you plan your team without being caught flat-footed every Monday morning. Now, your ratio planning is where the CEO mindset really matters for an early childhood business, because unlike most industries, your team, well, that isn't flexible when it comes to ratios. You can't serve more families than your ratios allow, and you can't reduce your team below the coverage your children require. That's actually a feature, though, not a bug, because it means your summer team plan has clear, non-negotiable parameters. So build your summer team calendar around those ratio requirements first, and then layer your flexibility on top of that. I talked about this in a previous podcast. So at Peak Academy, we've already mapped out what the summer team vacation planning already looks like. Our team is already on board. We asked them before May to please let us know what they're looking like for vacation time. And so many of them work together. One teacher wants this week off. The other teacher knows it, so they take a different week off. When you plan ahead, you give your team the opportunity to help support you and support your summer calendar. Now, flex coverage, this is the piece that many leave out, and it's one of the ones that's going to save your sanity in the summer. So build at least 2 flex coverage options in your summer plan before you need them. Now, this might mean a reliable substitute, a cross-trained team member who can shift in different classrooms or work parties on the weekend, college kids, high school kids, part-time summer hires specifically for coverage gaps. Now, these specifics depend on your business model, but the principle is the same. Your summer schedule should have a planned response to the unexpected, not just a hope that nothing goes wrong. This, again, is where those high school kiddos, they come in beautifully, and those college kids that come back, because many of them have a lot going on in the summer. So you will have some kids who want very full work schedules, meaning lots of hours, lots of time. But then you're going to have other kiddos who want to be with their friends, who are going on vacation with their own family, have a lot going on, so they don't want as many hours. Now, we always at Peak Academy, I always bring on 2 to 4 of those kiddos because I can fill them in at different spots throughout the summer. And it's always great because, again, they don't always want hours all the time. But when I do call, they love the paycheck. Now, put all 3 of those components together, and you have a summer scheduling snapshot that's going to give your team clarity. It's going to protect your compliance, and it's going to reduce that Monday morning scramble to almost nothing. So again, at Peak Academy, I block one afternoon every spring to do this work, and I promise you, it is hands down one of the most valuable 60 minutes of my entire summer prep. Now, your 2 action steps here. Number 1, you're going to map your summer enrollment by week using whatever registration data you currently have. Even rough estimates are better than nothing. So create a simple spreadsheet or a document that shows you your anticipated attendance range per week and keep that updated. Now, action step number 2, using section number 2 of the operations planning worksheet, develop that 1-page summer team and schedule overview. So include your minimum ratio coverage requirements if you need to, maybe your flex coverage options, and any scheduled program changes. Think 4th of July, theme weeks, field trips, special events, all of those that might affect your team headcount. And finally, on to strategy number 3, the summer communication plan. Now, one of the biggest sources of summer chaos isn't operational at all. It's communication. Families who have been on autopilot during your school year, well, they suddenly have questions. What are the summer hours? How does billing week for the weeks their child is out of town? What happens if there's a weather closure? Is there a different pickup process for field trip days? So at the same time, your team is navigating questions of their own. What do the summer schedules look like? Who's covering which rooms, which parties? What happens when a family doesn't show up on a field trip day? What's the process for handling last-minute absences during the summer programming? Now, if you're answering those questions reactively, one family and one team member at a time, well, you are burning hours you don't have, my friend. The solution is a summer communications plan that's going to answer those questions before they're even asked. Now, this doesn't have to be complicated. It's just a couple documents. Get the answers down for yourself and your sanity. This is going to be your summer information guide. Think of it as like a 1 or 2 page overview that's going to cover everything families need to know before summer starts, or maybe questions about summer that come up often. Your summer hours, any changes to drop off, pickup procedures, your summer session schedule, how billing works during the summer, any special programming like theme weeks or field trips, your communication expectations, your closures, maybe weather policy. So send this guide home or post it in your family communication app or family parent center. Do this before the last day of your regular school year. Every question a family sends you in June is probably already answered in that document. So make sure they have it. And then give it out to any new families who might be coming just for the summer. Now, the second thing that you want to create is your team summer playbook. Now, this is going to be an internal document. Again, not fancy, just a Word doc that's going to cover the things your team needs to know how to operate effectively during the summer. Any changes to their schedules, summer attendance and ratio procedures, coverage protocols for common summer scenarios like planned absences, last minute call outs, field trip days, anything specific to the themes, and any changes to your daily operational workflow. Now, walk through this document with your team in your last team meeting before summer begins. Then the best thing about this, rinse and repeat. So you'll create this document and then you get to reuse it again next year. So you put in a little intentional time now for both of these documents, and then you will reuse them year after year, only updating them as you need to. When both documents exist and your families and your team have been walked through them, you are not the information bottleneck anymore. Families know where to find their answers. Your team knows what to do. And you, my friend, you can lead instead of translate. Now, that operations planning worksheet section 2, specifically the communication protocols area, that's a great starting place for building your team summer playbook. Use those categories to make sure you've covered every communication gap that summer typically creates in your business. Now, your 2 action steps number 1, draft your summer parent information guide this week. Start with the 5 most common questions you received from families last summer and make sure each one is answered in that document. Don't overthink the format. A clean 1-page document, super simple. That's the best. Action step number 2, schedule a pre-summer team meeting if you need to, or put it in an email, or put it in a text, or put it in writing. But create that team summer playbook and make sure your team understands it. Ask each team member what question they might be thinking about right now, or maybe what they're scrambling to answer in that first week of summer. Add those to the playbook. Team-built documents like this, they get used. My friend, those are the 3 strategies: the summer systems audit, the summer scheduling framework, and the summer communications plan. They are the foundation of a summer you can actually lead instead of just survive. Start with the audit because it's going to tell you exactly what to focus your energy on, and then build your scheduling framework so your team has clarity from day 1. And before family leaves for the last day of school, get that summer parent information guide into their hands. When those 3 pieces are in place, you are not scrambling in June, you are leading in June. And don't forget that free operations planning worksheet. It's your action tool for all of this and maps directly to that audit work we talked about in strategy 1. It gives you the framework categories you need to build both your scheduling overview and your communications plan. It's at kellypeak.com where you find information about today's podcast episode 184. And if you want to go deeper on building the kinds of operational systems and tools that hold up all year, not just in the summer, I want to make sure to tell you about the Team Culture Blueprint. Now, this resource is designed to give you a complete, done-for-you system for building a team culture that actually sticks. The kind of culture that makes summer easier because your team, well, they're self-directed, they are clear on expectations, and it doesn't need your constant presence to function. It's available at kellypeak.com under Shop Resources. It's one of the best investments you can make before your summer program begins. Here's your 1 action step for this week. Do the audit, download the worksheet, block out that time, and identify your top 3 operational gaps heading into summer. Not everything at once, just 3, because 3 solved problems in summer is the difference between surviving and leading. You built this business because you wanted to make a difference in the lives of children and families, and you wanted a life that felt worth living too. Summer should feel like evidence of both. Leading like the CEO you are becoming. You got this. I believe in you, and I can't wait to see you next week. And don't forget, if you love this podcast, please, please, please rate it and share it. We appreciate you.